Building a Tenor Guitar, Part 7 at randallprice.com. Most guitars usually have a decorated ring or rosette around the sound hole. And in today's video, I'll show you how I built the rosette for the tenor guitar. This is the finished rosette, and it's about 60 thousandths of an inch thick, and it's made out of 5 pieces of wood. It has walnut, curly maple, a wider band of walnut, another band of curly maple, and then another band of walnut. And in this video I'll show you how I made this, but essentially this wider center band of walnut I cut out with a router, and then the other 4 thin pieces are 1/16 of an inch wide pieces of wood that I bent and then glued to this ring, and then I sanded the whole thing flush. Where the pieces of the banding met, you can see I didn't do a perfect joint there, and you really don't need to have that, because the fretboard will cover that. On the finished guitar, it'll get laid into the top. The fretboard will extend down over the top of the rosette, and that part will not be seen. So next I'll show you how I made the rosette. This is the size of the sound hole, and what I'm going to do is make a walnut ring to surround that sound hole, and then on each side of that walnut ring I'll have another thin layer of curly maple and then another thin layer of walnut, both on the outside and inside of that ring. This is the walnut that I've cut out to make the ring out of. I'll cut the ring thicker than what I need, and then I'll reduce it down to the final dimension. I've taken that longer piece of walnut and cut out a piece 6 inches long, and my piece is approximately 6 inches wide, so I have a square piece of walnut. To cut out this ring, I will take a piece of double face tape, carpet tape, and stick it to this scrap piece of plywood. I'll then drill a hole in the center of the wood, and then using my circle cutting jig on my router, I will route a channel around the outside perimeter of where I want my ring. I will route another channel around the inside perimeter of where I want my ring. That'll define the width of my ring. I will not cut all the way through. I will route almost all the way through. So I put a piece of double stick carpet tape on the back of the walnut, and now I'll just stick it to this, and it's secure. Now I'll drill a hole in the center of the walnut to correspond with the guide pin on my circle cutting jig, and I calculated the radius that I need. I used my gauge blocks to set it up, and basically I took the appropriate number of blocks, just set them between my bit and my pivot point on my circle cutting jig, and I could slide it right up against the bit and set it. Now to set the depth of my router, I set this over to the side, so my pivot pin's off to the side, and I laid my ruler on the face of my plywood, dropped my router bit down to touch the top of this ruler, and set my depth there. So when I make the plunge cut, it will cut through and leave that thickness of walnut intact in the channel. Now before I make the actual cut in the walnut, I'm going to make a test cut in a piece of plywood to make sure that my diameter is where I want it to be. And it looks like it's just about 4 3/4, which is what I want. I'll check the depth of the cut. It's just a little under 12 thousandths of an inch. And my wood is just about 17 thousandths. So that leaves about 5 thousandths of an inch left, but that will do. So next I'll set up to make my cut in the walnut. Okay, I'm ready to cut the second channel on the inside of the ring, and rather than try to calculate what radius I need here, I know that I want this ring to be a 1/2 inch wide, so all I need to do is move my pivot point in a 1/2 inch, and I also have to take into consideration my router bit, which was 1/4 of an inch wide, and I was cutting on the outside of the ring when I cut the outside channel. I need to cut on the inside of the ring when I cut the inside channel, so that adds another 1/4 inch. So all I need to do is slide my pivot point in a 1/2 inch for the width of the ring and a 1/4 inch for the router bit, or 3/4 of an inch altogether. Now this is where this is a good application for gauge blocks. Rather than trying to measure that, I've clamped a block against my pin, and it's still in the position that I used to cut this first channel. I just slide it in. I've taken a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch gauge blocks, and then I can just slide that back against there without any measuring, and it's right on the money. Go back to my test plywood piece, make a cut in that to make sure that everything is set where I want it. Once I'm satisfied with that, I'll go back and make the next cut in the walnut. I made the test cut in the plywood, and it looks fine, so I have my router set up. Got my second cut in my walnut, and I'll do that now. I took some more double-faced tape, stuck my entire cutout to a piece of hardboard, and I ran it through my thickness sander until I just sanded down to my router cut. And you can see right here I've just got a paper thin layer left. It's just coming right off. So that piece is just stuck to the tape. So now all I got to do is carefully remove my ring and not break it as I pull it away from this tape. So I'll do that next and show you what it looks like. So here's my walnut ring. Turned out pretty good. So now I have to laminate that maple and then another layer of walnut around the inside and outside of this ring. So here are just the rough cut strips of wood. We're going to go around this ring. Obviously I'm going to have to bend those, so the next task will be setting up a bending pipe to bend these around the ring. Okay, well I got my pipe set up to bend my wood, and I've done one trial piece, and this is a piece of curly maple that I bent, and I've pinned it inside the walnut ring that I made. It's not glued, I just have it, this is just a trial, so the pins are there to hold it tight against the inside wall of the ring. So I'll take that out and actually glue that in there, and in just a minute I'll show you how I bent the wood. All I did is got a piece of 2-inch pipe and a pipe clamp, light screwed it to a piece of 2x4, and I have that clamped to the end of my workbench. And I just have a torch in the end of that, and the torch I just have wood clamp to it to hold it at the proper angle to direct the flame up into the pipe. Next I want to bend a piece of walnut to go inside the maple ring, or the maple piece that I already have bent. But first I'll glue that piece of maple inside the ring so that can be drying. Okay, the first thing I did before starting to glue this up is I put a layer of packing tape on my board here so the glue won't stick to it. And here's the piece of maple that I bent. What I will do is, once I get glue on it, I'll fit it to the inside of this ring, and then I'll just put stick pins around the perimeter snugly just to hold the maple up against the walnut so it'll dry. Okay, so that's thoroughly coated with glue, so I'll start working this into the walnut ring. I know it will fit because I had it in there already. So I'll start by putting the stick pin in one side, putting a little tension on it, put more on the other. Now I'll just fill in between, kind of tilting the pin to get started and straightening it up, and that forces the maple against the walnut. So I'm satisfied with that. I'll let that dry, and I'll work on bending a piece of walnut. Okay, here's my piece of walnut. Need to get the pipe heated up to where the water's kind of dancing off of it. I have a piece of PVC pipe here that's the approximate diameter of the inside of my ring, and I'll use that as a gauge to tell how I'm doing on the bending. I'll wet the wood. Have to keep the wood moving or it will burn. It's already dry on the inside. So that's basically the technique, and I'll just keep wetting it, bedding it, and fitting it to that piece of pipe till I get a piece that conforms to the inside of that pipe, and then I'll be ready to glue it up on the inside of the rosette ring. That'll do it. As soon as my piece of maple dries and this walnut has a chance to dry, I'll glue it up next. I finished bending all the wood banding that I have to go around the rosette. There's a piece of walnut and a piece of maple that I have clamped around this piece of PVC pipe fitting, letting it dry. And here's the piece that I bent previously that will go on the inside of the rosette. And this should just about be dry, so I'll remove the pins, glue this piece of walnut on the inside, and then work on the two outside pieces. For woodworking plans, tips, and techniques, visit randallprice.com. In Part 8 of Building a Tenor Guitar, see how the rosette is inlaid into the guitar top.